Mariannette Miller Meeks said this was a fact-finding mission. She had a Republican member from Michigan, another one from Georgia. They toured several Iowa energy producers. Generally speaking, Iowa Republican politicians primarily push renewable fuels. Maybe they talk wind and solar, and it's the Democrats talking more about those things, but also electric vehicles. 1 in 9 vehicles sold in the U.S. in the second quarter last year was electric. It was 1 in 8 in the second quarter this year. The Democrats' Inflation Reduction Act provides $7,500 tax credits for those who buy certain new electric vehicles. Christina Bohannon supports that act and the potential of EVs.
This bill is going to be great for Iowa. This is a bill that is actually going to allow us to be far more energy independent as a country than we have been in a long time. I think that's a huge issue for our economy, for our national security. So I think that's really important. It's also going to reduce costs, fuel costs, energy costs, healthcare costs. So those are things I hear a lot about around Southeast Iowa as I've been going around talking to people. So, you know, that's going to be a real plus. And on top of it all, it actually reduces the deficit. It reduces the deficit more than just about any other bill that we've seen over the last at least a decade. So, you know, this is a situation where good social policy is also good economic policy, and there's a lot in here for Iowa. So you mentioned electric vehicles. You know, I think that's one thing. We also have in there some tax credits for solar power for people's homes, businesses, for their agriculture. You know, and so those are going to be really good things for Iowa. It invests a lot in renewable energy. Obviously, that's an important issue for Iowa, and we already are doing well with renewable fuels here in Iowa. This could make us a national leader, if not a worldwide leader, in renewable fuels. So there's a lot in this bill to like as far as the renewable fuel piece and, you know, making us more independent, lowering fuel and energy costs for people across Iowa.
Mariannette Miller Meeks had talked about earlier this week some concern she has when it comes to EVs, in the sense that you live out in smaller communities, maybe your battery doesn't stay charged long enough for your long commute to work, and, you know, loses charge when it gets cold in the winter, those kind of things.
You mentioned the bill that just passed. Well, in that bill is that electric vehicles and batteries have to be made from U.S. sourced minerals, but yet we don't allow permitting. So the Duluth mine in Minnesota, which is our largest copper store, has been waiting over a decade to get permitting. We're not allowing permitting for rare earth elements. So it's almost contradictory toward the bill that was passed for what's required in the bill to be able to even do what they've requested that the bill authorizes, which is make electric batteries from U.S. sourced materials, but we don't allow the permitting.
Do you have EV concerns, and are those legitimate?
Yeah, we need to invest in the infrastructure to make that happen. And so absolutely. I mean, we need to invest in that. But we can do that in Iowa. We already really have made a commitment to renewable energy here in Iowa, and so I feel like this is completely consistent with that. And this kind of national investment can help us build that infrastructure.
The Republican governor, every Republican member of Congress from our state, they've all been down to the border, talking about that border security is not good enough under the Biden administration. He doesn't take it seriously. He's not doing enough to frankly convince people not to even try to come here. Are they taking it seriously enough? Is there anything that you would push differently?
Yeah. So, immigration is such an important issue. It's been really interesting as I've been going all over Southeast Iowa. A lot of people talk about immigration as a workforce issue. I was just over in the Quad Cities area just a few days ago, and talking to some business leaders over there, and they were saying we need immigrants here. We need them to work. We have a workforce crisis. We need them to work, and so a lot of them want help with that. They want to get help to sort through some of the bureaucracy associated with getting visas and things like that for the kinds of employees they really want to hire. When it comes to the border, I think that people really don't mind legal immigration. They just want it to be done in a way that is orderly and not creating chaos, and that's what I support. I think that we don't want to create a humanitarian crisis there. We don't want to, encourage so much immigration that we have, families being separated and all of those things. I think we want to avoid humanitarian crises, and so I think that we do need comprehensive bipartisan immigration reform. We've been talking about that for a long time, kicking that can down the road, but we really need to do it because there are lives at stake here, there are families being separated, and I think we need to avoid that and do it in a way that is orderly and that helps places like Iowa get the kinds of people in the workforce that they need here.
But cycle after cycle, people always come into the studio here and say that same thing, and it never happens.
Yeah. So let me say something about that. Because you're absolutely right. That is true. And what I'm seeing is that Mariannette Miller Meeks and others have used this as a wedge issue. There are people who talk about immigration reform, but they don't actually do it because it works for them politically to use this as a wedge issue cycle after cycle. We need to get down to brass tacks. We need to talk about the things that we really need to do, and we need to think about it from an Iowa perspective. I don't like to get into all of the big controversial issues and just do what the parties tell us to do. We need to talk to the people in Iowa, the business leaders like I was just mentioning, and see what they need with regard to immigration reform, and do that. And take that seriously, not just kind of keep saying the same old things over and over, cycle after cycle, using that as a political wedge issue.
But is there anything specifically you've said in what you just said there? I'm not sure you said anything specifically. Are you pushing anything specifically that would change?
So for example, one thing I would actually really like to see is and this gets in the weeds a little bit, but since you asked,
Complicated
I'll say it.
Subject, for sure.
So there's a program that involves our healthcare workers. So for example, we have people who come here on a J-1 visa. They actually study medicine, but then they are required to go back to their home countries for a couple of years before they can return to practice here. I'm going to tell you something. That is a problem for Iowa. We need physicians. We need healthcare workers. We need certain kinds of immigrants.
You probably see that on campus.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of them who have been through this program, and they came back and they are working in some of our underserved areas. So what we need to do is work to increase the number of waivers that we're getting from the federal government for people so that they don't have to return back to their home country before they can work in our underserved areas in Iowa. That's an issue that I would want to work on right away.
All right, up next, we're going back to energy with the Energy Secretary and how she says she's balancing a push for record oil production, but still going green.